Hey guys, this is Chris. I don't know where Renny is. I know he's working on it, but he's late. We're gonna have to give him a hard time. There he is. Look at this.
Sorry, I was having a little technical difficulty. I plugged my mic in, but one of my ports is dead in my little sidebar. So I was like, how's it going? Good morning.
I was just telling these guys you're late to your own party.
No, I'm never late to this, but we were having a good time this morning. We already talked. You know what? This is going to make up for it. We saved lives yesterday. Our group that's here, we saved lives.
Was it dog lives?
Well, in the afternoon, yes. So we found on the way back from dinner with these guys, we came across two gorgeous little lost fur babies, and we put their owners back, them back with their families this morning early. But it made for an interesting evening with 7 dogs on the property. So
I bet.
And then yesterday we rescued a hummingbird that was stuck in the shop, and she just was worn out. She landed on the floor. I went and picked her up. I took her up to our hummingbird feeders, kind of got her to be able to perch on it. I went back a couple times and went back up one time, and she was actually feeding out of it. And I kind of rubbed my finger over the back of her, and she went into a hover, looked at me, and boom, took off. So we did our good deeds. So we're going to blame her. Yeah, we're going to say that we're 30 seconds late because of that. So hey, we'll see.
I think everybody will survive.
Yeah, they will. They'll survive. They'll survive. So I want to make sure. So did you see the picture in the background?
I can see it. Yeah.
That's Rip and I, and this is wise because we met. That picture was taken almost a year ago to the day.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
it's like
our
your,
love.
Your
our
anniversary.
Love birthday. Yeah, it is. So I was out with them Sunday, and we just with everything that went on in our with our family. I didn't get to get out there too often with them, and boy, he was. If he was a dog, he would have been in my lap. It was bad enough he was trying to do it. And I'm like, dude, you're 1,300 pounds. You can't sit in my lap. But yeah, he's funny. But it was a good time. So
hey, real quick, Jason Bruno chimed in regarding the hummingbird. He's pointing out that all your search and rescue training finally paid off.
It finally did pay off. It finally paid off. Yeah, I was going to say something that 10 years ago would have been funny, but in today's world, I'd probably get sued. So I'm not gonna. I'll say it later because these guys are they're all used to it this week. But yeah, it's pretty cool. Yeah, Jen, thanks for the confidence, buddy. Appreciate it, man. So really cool. We're gonna get these guys. Man, is this gonna happen again? This happened on the last podcast. I was chasing the fly off me the whole time. We got fly season up here in the mountains right now, and it's horrible. We got these fly catcher things, and it's like a fly death, graveyard. But they're not quite dead yet. They get stuck to it, and then you can hear their wings, and then finally they collapse and die. But there's my insensitivity right there. Probably get sued for that too. So hey, yeah, it's we're gonna see you later this morning. You're gonna be up here.
Yeah, probably noon or so.
Just hard in time for lunch. Yeah, that figures. See. No, you're on a good day, you're 2.5 hours from here. 2 hours.
Yeah. 2.5 is pretty much a minimum to get up there for me. I can get home faster, but it takes a little longer to get up there.
Yeah, the group, when we were training, we had to go down the hill on Friday night last time because my brother that's weird. It was a month ago. My brother, no, it wasn't. It was almost like 3 weeks ago. But Chris comes flying past us. So I was driving the truck, and Chris comes flying past us in his Mini. It sounded like, what's that one movie? It was like not to Back to the Future, but where they drive. I mean, it wasn't quite the sound of an electric car, but it was definitely the sound of a Mini. Yeah, that's exactly. Yeah, we're working on an electric car right now, and you get in it, it makes all the sounds. I'm still not quite used to that. Kind of cool. 10-year-old me would have dug it. But. Well, we're going to have these guys come behind us real quick. Our class is here, our 5 days here. So we're going to have them jump behind, including one of our interns is MIA until a little later this morning. He went back to take his wife home. So these guys are going to jump behind us and introduce themselves real quick, and then we're going to jump right into this thing. So go for it, guys. look into the light.
Yeah, Ben, you got a tall one up there. I'm losing half his head.
Hold on, we'll put it up like this.
There we
How's
go.
that? There we go.
So who do we got?
Anybody?
Mike Clark, dual residency, California and Texas.
Sean DeRosa, Hollywood, Florida.
Michael Macias from Los Angeles, California.
And I'm Britt Stokes from Provo, Utah.
There we go.
I'm Josh Pierce from Iowa City, Iowa.
How's that? Yay! Right?
You know, I'm told that they call him Grandpa Josh.
They do.
Yeah.
And Grandpa.
We sent something. So you guys have a seat. We sent something over. As Zach sent us something yesterday in regards to that, and we sent him something back. A little message of Johnny Cash, waving at him with a middle finger. So, you know, that was kind of fun. So, so we're really excited. We had a great week last week. We were up in Monterey. That was fun. Team Double Black, Team Rad Company was with us. Josh was up with us. It was a lot of fun, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah.
A lot of cool cars. It was really cool to be able to see a lot of detailers too, and how the detailing community's grown, how individuals in the industry have grown. We saw some good friends. We met some new ones. It was a good time, man. It was a really good time, and Mafia killed it. It was just a lot of work for Dave and Bob and Keith put a shitload of work into it. Sydney and Kyle got up there, did a lot of work to it, but then the Mafia worked their booties off. I think we got it easy though, because a couple of the team members and a couple of the Rad Company guys had to go to the auction and prep the cars right before the auction, just as we had already cleaned them up, but they had to go through and wipe them down right before they went on stage. And we thought the auction would be running a little late, and it didn't. So I think it started at 4 and ended at 9, and they had 90 cars go over the block. So do the math on that. That's a car like every 2 minutes, 3 minutes, you know. So they're hustling.
I heard things were moving so fast that they actually only dressed the tires that were facing the audience.
Yeah. Well, and it's a good thing. It's a good thing that like I said, we'd already hit it, but we'd had so much wet weather. If it wasn't raining, it was dew. So it was kind of a challenge, but it was, we got to see a lot of cool people. Gordon McCall. It's always great to see Gordon, and to watch the Broad Arrow group. This was their first Monterey. Not collectively, but as individuals, there's some pretty talented people who've been in the game for a long time. But it was a cool time. So,
check this out. So Monterey Auctions this year had a record year as a whole. All the auctions together, there was $470 million in sales last week up there.
Wow.
And the previous record was back in 2015, was just under 400 million.
That's a big jump. Well, I'll tell you, some of those top level people, as you're driving into Monterey, we always take food collections up, and gatherings for donations, because they got it tough up there. I mean, I don't see how they're making it. Their guest houses are only like, 2,800 square feet, and, their main residence, and, it's tough. It's that echelon of life. We saw it at the party that night, and once again, we I'm not even going to go there. I can incriminate myself there too. Never mind. We set in a special spot, didn't we?
Yes,
we
did.
got in a special spot, and so it was pretty cool. I think they actually just let us in there, though.
Yeah.
We are cool. And then Josh and I were dressed like twins. We didn't know it. Wasn't planned, but we had the same color suits on. And
I saw that.
We look good.
Mm-hmm.
We look good. So, hey, topic today. If it's not me, then who? It's going to be someone. Someone's going to make your dream happen. And if you don't take action, I love having you guys here, by the way. I do. I just love, because I feel like I'm talking to friends online, but I got friends right here, But I'm going to say it again. If it's not me, then who? And my answer to that, why wouldn't it be you? And I'm going to share some of my struggles, and I still struggle with that somewhat. You think I'd be, a lot of people that don't know me, or maybe some they do, think I'm cocky, think I'm, arrogant. Not me, man. Not me. I'm still very self-aware that I'm not real confident. There's things I don't believe that I deserve still. And it's not that I don't deserve them, but I just don't think guys like me get that. Does that make sense? And I think a lot of us really do. And I think the difference between, I've done, not bragging, I've done well. A blue collar industry, I've done well. But when I was working with Undercover Billionaire on the show, I found myself, I've never compared myself to anybody else. Even in football, I'm not a big dude. But I never thought I was my height. I always thought I was 6 foot and over, In business, I just didn't know I was a special ed kid that wasn't going to be able to make it. I just didn't, but I didn't see myself as a billionaire. Now, in the early days of my life, the excuse I told myself was I didn't want to give up items in life to work that hard to make it happen. And so that's not the facts. Everything's difficult. Choose your difficult. Being broke's difficult. Becoming a millionaire is difficult. I can't imagine that becoming a billionaire isn't easy. It's hard. It's all difficult. Choose your difficult.
Hey, Renny, keep going. I got to step away for a second.
You bet. So again, it's not me. Then who? Somebody's gonna. You might think you've got a unique dream. What I found out in life is a lot of shared people, a lot of shared ideas. Now, your idea might be unique, but how long is it going to be unique? I've had ideas, even in this industry and in small business, and thought, man, this is cool. I got some time. I'm going to sit on this for a little while, bank some money, and then take action. And 6 months later, somebody did it. Something really unique. And I didn't say a word to anybody. Somebody else was creative. If it's not me, who? It's going to be somebody. Now, let me tell you this again. The right outlook. You just got to believe that you can. You've got to take and understand that you can. You are limitless. You can do anything that you want to. There's going to be a price to pay, and you got to execute. And there's where people get mixed up. I'm going to give you an insight on some true facts. Okay, some true facts is my own limited ways, but then how I sometimes I was thought, man, I'm dreaming big. I'm dreaming so big. Can I make this happen? And sometimes I made those items happen, but I thought too small in making them happen, meaning that maybe I came in at the wrong price. Maybe I came in with the wrong agreement. Maybe I came in with not the other party having a full understanding of what I meant. Maybe I was too scared to share those meanings of really what I wanted. And it might have, in most cases, it worked out fine, but in some cases, not so. And so we're going to,
you're too scared to share what?
I can't. Let me roll. If we stop, I'm going to go 500 directions. So I couldn't take in, maybe it was a deal that I was building with somebody and I really wanted to hit it here, but I was too scared that saying I wanted to hit it here would blow the deal. Does that make sense? So if I really shared where I wanted to be in the deal, I'd lose the deal. No, I wouldn't have. But I didn't find that out till later, is that you've got to know your worth, and your worth has got to constantly go up as long as something's happening. And you guys are fine examples of that right now. As long as your education keeps to being there and that you're engaging, and you've got the right people around you. So as success started to hit me in my own life, is my old brain implants, the old way that I used to think about myself kept creeping up. Okay. So let's go back over those things. Is that in the early days of not understanding, why I had this broken family and why this family was so just not normal. I saw other friends. Was it normal? Probably a lot more normal than I thought. But coming up in the time I did, coming up where I did, and not having a father, I was an oddball. It definitely, it caused some friction in life. It caused friction in friendships. It caused friction in sports, because these other kids that their dad might have been a worker at the cement plant. Their dad might have been a delivery driver. Their dad might have been a milkman. Their dad might have been the local trash man, but their dad was there, and their dad was engaged in their life, and their dad was engaged in their sports, and their dad was teaching them dad things. And I had a mom and a grandma that was trying to do as best they could. They really did. They did better than that what they should have done, could have done. But it still was a difference. And so that set me up with some stinking thinking. I'm not valuable. You know, I remember the first time I went out for baseball, what are you, 5 or 6 years old, right? You get out there. The worst team in our league was the Blacks. If you got on a team, you did not, they were the bad news bears of Colton. You did not want to get put on that team. It was kind of the rejects. What team did I get put on? The Blacks. What team did I turn out to love? The Blacks. We were the rejects, but we had fun and we bonded and we knew we weren't very good. If there's an A team list of all the A teams, a B team list of all the B teams, and a C team list of all the C teams, we were the D team. We were the only team on the D, because none of us, and you know what, the one thing, and I've never shared this before, the one thing that 90% of us had in common, there was 2 things that we had in common. We were poor and we didn't have dads in our life. Almost the entire team. Now, you'd think they would have thought about that. It's a different time. You know, you talk about segregation, you talk about, you know, separating people. It just wasn't a ethnic separation. It was a culture separation too. And I witnessed that firsthand. Now, did it bother me? Well, of course, I'm still talking about it. But it also got a little fire going in me to where I was like, okay, I'm on this team. I'm going to make the best of it. Second thing around is that I get put in special ed. I'm not learning. I got, you know, found out I had well, they didn't even know what ADD was. I was literally, and I've been called out for using this name, but it's true, is we were in the retarded class. That's what they called it. Is they told my grandma I had a partial retardation. And it wasn't, it was ADD. You know, that set us back again. And it set some really bad thinking into my mind because I knew I was different. But you know, what happened is that as the kids around me, and there are some really needy kids in that class. I mean, I had it good. I had a learning disability. Some of these kids had some real challenges, right? But what I found out is that my friends that were in the gifted class, a lot of them had teased me about going in there, started to see the change in me. And credit to them, these are young kids. These are 5th and 6th graders. To credit to them, when they started noticing those changes, they stopped treating me bad. So I knew there was goodness in people's heart. Okay. Now at that same time, I'm really involved in Boy Scouts. And I got elected I can't remember what it's called now. God, I just had it tip my tongue. But I was Grand Poobah. I mean, they put me into the pack leadership position, you know, for our Boy Scout troop. And I remember feeling so honored that they trust me like that. And the reason why is that with my limitations in life, I learned how to have fun. Now, I had some brothers that were struggling from some different problems at that time. So my fun wasn't going to go that direction. Wasn't going to be substance related. It was going to be outdoor related. So we'd take off. And mind you, we're 10, 12-year-old kids, and we'd hike up here to the mountains from Colton. That's halfway between here, or that's 3/4 of the way. It's not far from where you guys flew into, 15 minutes, 20 minutes. We would end up in Big Bear and not take a road. We'd be gone for days. But you know what that led into? My ability for mountaineering. Who would have ever guessed that later in life that I would be on mountainsides or in the desert, dropped off by a helicopter to go rescue somebody? And those first exposures set the table for that journey. And so again, mindset is mindset over matter. If you think it, you're going to be it. I really believe that. And I've limited where I could be in my life by some stinking thinking. So now let's go through some other opportunities that we had. So we dive back in, sharing with you guys, when we dove back into detailing in the late 90s, we just lost everything in a really bad business deal. For the first time since I was a teenager, I was broke again. But this time I had a family, I had a wife, I had responsibilities. And again, the one thing that I think for me, being somebody that was raised without a lot of money, was the last thing you ever wanted to go back to was not having a lot of money, or being broke. And so it kind of set me in a tailspin for just a short time. I wouldn't say depression, but I was like confused. Where am I going to go? And so I said, I'm going to go back to what I love. So I went to Diane, and I had a whole nother plan. I was going to start a consulting business. I did really well. I ran a $12 million, pot of a corporation, sector of a corporation, $12 million a year in my 20s. So I was going to go back and do that, but on my own. So I just got into detailing again, just to pay the bills for a little while, right? But then when I got into it, I learned one thing. I really liked it. I really missed it. I was all about cars. It was all about airplanes. So I decided at that time in my mind that I was going to change something. I was going to change the perception. You see, at that moment, and still in some people's minds that maybe even listen to this, detailing is for rich people performed by broke people. And I'm going to say that again. Detailing is something that rich people do that poor folks perform for them. And I saw that, but I also saw that this attorney, Tom Hanks, Bruce Willis, and this dude that owned his own businesses were no better than me. Somehow I had to take and show them that without being arrogant. Somehow I had to show them that I was worth respecting and that what I was doing with their cars was worthy. So I started on that. And the way I did that was by giving them an outstanding experience. Their buying experience was over the top, much like you in fine dining, right?
That's right.
And what I did is I already had a heart of hospitality. I never was trained in hospitality. I was brought up by an Italian grandma that demanded it. You said, please, thank you, opened the doors. Matter of fact, if my to this day, almost 30 years in with Diane, if my grandma had ever, even if Diane and I are mad at each other, man, if I don't open that door for her, I still think of that Italian lady beat me on the head. There's no way I'd get away with that. No way. So the hospitality side was I really think that it was bred into me. You can learn it. You're not as good at hospitality and creating experiences when you have to learn it. But if it's in your heart and it's in your passion, I think that it will be in your heart for life once you allow it in. I changed the game for me, and I don't brag a lot. I changed the game for a lot of people in this industry by showing that you could give an experience and you can make money, and that you could be a wealthy person serving the rich as a detailer. You don't have to be dead broke. You don't have to take and have holes in your shoes. You don't have to take and have nothing in your pocket. You don't have to have no hope, no dreams. That's in the past. And if I'm speaking to you right now and you're kind of stuck in that spot, you can get out. You just got to think your way out. So first big change happened is that when I went to my first show is that I was profitable. We lost everything the day before Thanksgiving in 98. Dave Morris, he's listed here. Good friend of mine, was pilot, personal assistant, and bodyguard to a very, very wealthy woman. And he flew a jet for him. We're over him and I and their family, our kids were all the same age. We all gotten close, and I broke down, kind of, not crying or anything, but told him what had just happened. That I got sucker punched, And he goes, God, what are you going to do? And I said, I don't know. I got a couple plans. I said, it sounds weird. And I was almost embarrassed to say this, but I had a higher power telling me to say it for some reason. And I felt I needed to say it to him. I said, Dave, you're a car guy, but I almost want to get back into detailing. And I almost sat there like, okay, incoming. He's going to just, laugh his ass off. Dave's a pretty wealthy guy. He looks at me and he goes, Renny, this area, coming from the high end, the highest of the level in this area, dealing with these people, the fact that you've got such a wonderful way about you, you would kill it. And he says, my jet that I fly, I have to do it myself. How much would you charge me to do it every week? Let's go down and take a look at it and figure out the dollars and cents. The rest is history. Dave Morris introduced me to so many people. And when he was acceptance of it, he's a blue collar guy that just happened to swim with the not so blue collars, right? He taught me a lot because Dave in the background, he was the same person, but he's blue collar. He worked on cars. He built stuff. He's a woodworker. He's up in Alaska fishing right now. He's a man's man. He drank. We'd sit in his hangar and have a cigar and drink whiskey, sip whiskey. But when the money came into the picture, that dude was elegant. He was a class act. He could go between his worlds very easily. So what did I do? I imitated that. I brought that quality into my life. I learned how to speak in the proper things to say and not say around that crowd. I learned how to dress, how they would, okay, how much am I paying you? You're dressed way too nice to be my detailer. Okay, don't do that. Where I would have nice uniforms, but not too nice, but not average. Follow me on that one? We had to fit in, and Morris fit us in. Right after that time, 1999. I know this is way back in the 1900s, guys. I was at a show. I was at a car wash show in Las Vegas. And I had our logo on. I've got a shirt. I'll pull up an apron. We still have them from the original ones. And it had my attention to detail wings on it. They called it the Flying Wings. And underneath it, it says, if you fly it or drive it, we shine it. That was our tagline. Okay. I walk up this booth. I'm talking to these people, and they've got some interesting products. And there's not really products. There's a whole bunch of different products. And so it turns out they're a research company that researches things in different industries. And they're there to promote, hey, if XYZ, Valvoline oil, if you need to have some studies done, to see this and that. Well, they were doing a case study for a company called Shell Oil. Specifically, Aeroshell, their aviation division. So this guy, I'll never forget him, real preppy guy, was just proper as could be, comes up and he goes, so you really do airplanes? And I said, yeah. At that point, I was probably doing about 80% of my work was corporate jets, right? So I said, yeah, absolutely, every day. It's part of my life every day. And he goes, we need to talk. We're doing some research for a company, and I'd love to learn more. And I said, well, I'm here to talk. So he rolls over and buys me a matter of fact, he's the one that got me. I never drank coffee before. He's the one that got me drinking coffee. And he goes over and we have a bottle of water, and we're sitting down and spend about an hour, and he's asking me a lot of different questions about detailing aircraft, and nothing proprietary, nothing secret, just different facts. So spend an hour with him, right? It's great. So we exchange information, and I walk away, and about a week later he calls me, and he says, hey man, I'd really like to come up and visit you and watch you do a detail. Is that okay? And I said, well, time out. The old Renny would say, yeah, give. The business Renny said, what exactly are you looking for? And he goes, well, I want to see the systems and process. Okay. So I don't have any secrets, but it's going to slow me down, that system process. And he says, I'll bring a check with me. That was $5,000. Yeah, that'll work. $5,000. Yeah. That's a great number. I was going to tell him $1,000. See my small thinking? See where I was going, where I always cut myself off? I was thinking in my head, guys, $1,000. Threw out $5,000 instantly. He came up, he watched our process because it's great. About 2 weeks later, he wants to introduce me to a couple of team members. And he said, would you be interested in coming on retainer with us? I said, yeah, I can do that. I said, what are you thinking? He goes, well, thinking about getting you for a year. It's going to be about this amount of time. We want to get you to a couple of the air shows and just have you walk through. We like how you vision things. So we're willing to give you a $50,000 retainer to take and help us out. That led into a 10-year relationship with Shell Oil. They were the customer. And we co-created this book right here. This Flight Jacket book was produced in 1999, came out in 2000. And every 3 to 5 years, they send me a note, and I have to give them permission to keep printing it. It's been in print. If you look, there's pictures of me in here with hair. You know, it goes back. But it started a relationship, and it also started a new sector of our business. Now, since that time, Flex Tools. 9 years later, I got engaged with Flex. It's still a great relationship to this day. Okay. Right after that, Sonex. I had a great relationship. Still have a great working relationship with Sonex today. You guys used some product yesterday. And now, of course, Double Black, you know, and PNS. Is that the relationships kept evolving and changing. Now, what did I think? Let's go back for a second. Let's go back to the beginning, that first time I had a big opportunity like that. Here's where I met on this, is what was I thinking the deal should look at? That should I have ownership in it? I should have not just a consulting fee, not just a spokesperson fee, but I should have some ownership in a brand that we're helping to create. I was too scared to ruin the deal. So Shell comes up at the end, the head guy. We're 11 years. I was under contract for 10. He comes up to me the last time they gave me a check, and he goes, you know, he says, God, I wish I would have said something. We've become such great friends. And Jerry's his name. And he says, you know where we both blew it for you? He goes, I've got a great retirement with Shell. You don't. And he says, we should have got you ownership in this damn brand, and I could have done it. I went, damn it. I was thinking big, and I didn't say big. I limited myself. Why? Let them say, no, that won't work, and come up with an alternative. Now, how does this reflect back to detailing? Are you too damn cheap on every car you're working on? Do you see a problem car come in? Do you see something that's really nice that you can turn it into a jewel? Don't limit yourself. There's no reason to. The only people that are thinking, now some people are, a lot of people you're going to come in contact with are going to say this. They're going to say, man, it's too expensive. Say, thank you. Do you know why? I'm trained and certified. We carry the best insurance. We're continuing education. We're going to take care of your car and do no harm. We're going to make your car better, not worse. My competition can't say that. Simple as this. Now let's go back for a second. It's through curiosity and looking at opportunities in new ways that we will always map out our future path. Michael Dell Computers. So it's through curiosity and looking at opportunities. Some would say, I mean, I've had people tell me, man, you throw way too many things up. You don't strike on enough. You've thrown 2 things up and you've hit 1. I told Chris, sorry, man, when he came on, I'm an 1,000 idea a month kind of guy. And 999 of them are bullshit. Or 990 of them are bullshit, and there's 10 of them that are like, hey, we need to put that on the radar. You know, that needs to be talked about. Because, again, remember what I was saying, is that I've thought of these great ideas. I'm going to put this off. I'm going to punt this for 6 months. 3 months later, somebody did it. Like, oh, my God, somebody had the same idea. We're not usually too brilliant. Somebody's going to figure it out. Somebody, okay, check this out. NASA, the United States and Russia figured out how to go into space. Now a private company has. Now NASA's going, what the? Hey, would you guys partner up with us? See where I'm going? Is that NASA, they didn't have, would anybody say that having SpaceX involved has kind of improved the space mission? Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Just think if NASA wouldn't have sat on their hands for as long as they did. Where could they be? It's a big organization, and they even screwed it. Now, this is a great one, and this is where it comes back to respect. Is someone sitting in the shade today because someone planted a tree a long time ago? Warren Buffett. I already mentioned Dave Morris. Okay. I'm going to mention two Vince. Vince, you guys have heard who he is. I'm not going to mention his last name. And then Vince Smith, that was a local up here, changed my life when I met both of those men. Changed my life because they'd been down pathways and done things I hadn't done. One of them in a billion ways. The other one in several million ways. Okay. Walt Monique Stankwitz. When I was in my 20s, they're friends. They owned a pasta manufacturing company. They were right across from my office. They changed my life. I was a 20-something-year-old entrepreneur, and they would just shake me every once in a while and go, "What are you doing?" And they set me on the straight road. They helped me. They helped me mature in business. Bill and Winnie Bartell, the first millionaires I knew. 14 years old, they took me to my first restaurant. Never been to a nice restaurant before. And it wasn't a nice restaurant. It was like a Sizzler level, maybe. But to me, that was gourmet. I'd never seen a salad bar. So I'm dating their daughter, and I go, "What the hell is that?" Salad bar. What the hell is a salad bar? You go up there and you get salad. So I was like, "Okay, can you help me?" I mean, yeah. So we go up there, and what's right at the beginning? The bread, piece with a napkin over the top of it and a knife. And I go, "What the hell is that?" And she goes, "Well, it's fresh cooked bread." And I said, "Well, what do I do with it?" She goes, "You grab the napkin so your hand doesn't touch it, and then you cut it." I was so nervous, right? They obviously do this all the time. And so, I got this. She's standing right next to me. I grabbed the bread and cut right through my finger. Blood all over. They had to close the salad bar down. I was so embarrassed. I've told this story before. But Bill and Winnie taught me what life could be. That it didn't have to be on the back of a bicycle. Because I was running, detailing off a bicycle. Okay? And I thought that I was hot shit. Every once in a while, my big brother you guys met would give me a ride. I didn't have to ride my bike 8 miles one way. So let's go over this. A pessimist sees the difficulty in every opportunity. An optimist sees the opportunity in every difficulty. Winston Churchill. Choose your hard, but don't think small. Now, I had a great conversation. I was sharing it with you, my buddy Anthony down in Texas. And he thought maybe a few months ago that he'd started out a little weird. Just spent some time with him. That he started out his pricing a little high. So I talked to him this last week at Monterey. I said, "Hey, man, did you end up lowering price?" He goes, "No, I kind of stayed with it and I'm getting busy." Now, the good news is it took him longer. The better news is by taking longer, he learned a valuable lesson. He's not going to have to dig out of a cheap hole. He set his standards pretty high. His business was building up slow, but now it's starting to gain momentum. And you know what happens to a train once it starts moving? It's pretty hard to stop. And I have a feeling he's going to be pretty hard to stop. So how many times was I told this? Okay. Think about those quotes I just gave you. And I want you guys to reflect back on this. Every single one of these things, I think most of you are going to relate to most of them or all of them. You can't make any money detailing. Okay. I can't tell you how many hundreds of people have told me that in my life. You can't work on those corporate. Those people aren't going to pay you to do that. They're not going to pay you that much money. Okay. Been told that a lot of times. No one is going to pay that much for their car to be detailed. You're wasting your time. You can do better than this. Okay. You won't amount to anything. My 5th grade teacher. You'll never make any money. You'll never do anything serious. Next time, this one hurts. Next time, maybe you'll write a serious book. That was somebody really close to me. Well, I sold 100,000 copies of the first one. The second one's going to be even bigger. So, personal story. I wanted to be my own boss since a little boy.
Real quick, Renny, before you get into that, we got a great comment from Crystal Clean Detailing. I'm going to pull up because related to making money and prices. I don't know their name, but Crystal Clean Detailing says, "I took your class at Mobile Tech last year and you talked about upping your prices if you're booked out. Came back home and increased them twice, and now I'm still booked out 2 months at a time. I just didn't see how valuable I really am." And thank you.
That right there. That's gold. Thank you so much. I didn't see how valuable I really am. We're all missing that mark. Now, you can't go your freshman year in business. Freshman year is not 1 year. in business. Your freshman year is 1 to 5 years, 1 to 7 years. So I'm right there. It's a little longer than that. But you can get to your sophomore year and start being a little greedy. Okay? Your freshman years shouldn't be cheap. But you don't have the reputation yet. You can't bring in. Now, there are a few people that can. There are a few 1 and 2 year newbies operating like a 20-year veteran. There's a lot of 20-year veterans operating like a newbie. It goes both ways. So I wanted to be my own boss. Once that scout leader, when I was platoon leader, thank you, that's the word I was looking for. When they gave me the power of becoming platoon leader, I realized at that point, I sure like being the boss. Okay? And so I did it. I became self-employed. Now, I was told at one point I'd only be a factory worker at best. Okay? That'd be the only thing I'd ever do. I wanted to be a soldier. Really did. A little later in life, I'd gladly serve. I love being a chief warrant officer. I figured out a way. I wanted to be a SAR. I wanted to do search and rescue. For over 30 years, hundreds of missions, impacting hundreds of lives, dozens and dozens and dozens of families. I did it. I want to help people in small business by writing a book. I was told I'd never be smart enough. There's no way I could ever write a book. I did it. I wanted to be a police officer. Really did. And I proudly served, badges behind me, with San Bernardino County Sheriff's Department. I had some amazing, I get teary-eyed. I flew. I did wilderness apprehensions. My partner was killed. One of the proudest things in my life was doing community policing in my community. One of the happiest things I ever did. Now, mind you, I did all that part-time. How? I volunteered. I figured out a way. I lived all my dreams. So as I look back at my life, I was recently, and I've shared this before, as I was sitting, I was really complex. Every year I do. And every quarter, by the way, guys, I still do this. I started this year. Is I write a note to myself. And this one says October 1st. If you look at these, every quarter, I write my goal sheets down. I haven't hit all my goals. This last one, this next one, when I open it up, I will cross off 80% of them. 80%. I don't even remember what's on here. This is a big list. But I also took and made that same list when I was young. And I am very proud that I was able to do the things, even if it was part-time soldier. Some people would say, oh man, Calgary, it's not soldiering. Yeah, it is. Some people say reserve deputy. You know what? Some of the deputies gave me a hard time until I was backing them up. You know, and they figured out I'm a freaking, I'm a pit bull, man. I might be short, but you know, if you get in a fight, I'm not a bad dude to have around. And I don't quit. And I don't leave anybody behind. You know, search and rescue is that, you know, I've reached the top ranks. I just went through a special class in search and rescue that not many people in the world get to go through. It was an honor. Now, I did all this as an entrepreneur. And my proudest moment in all of this I did is one of the things that I set out with Diane is that in 2004, I saw that we'd done something pretty cool that would really change the opinion of people buying details. And I told her, I said, somehow I want to teach other people that haven't had the opportunities I've had to do this. I said, what do you think about starting a training school up? And it really changed my life. Out of everything I've done in life of seeing other people succeed and not just change their lives income-wise, it's changing their lives on teaching them that they don't have to work their asses off nonstop to make a living and that they got to go enjoy life. Let me tell you, when I show up in the mountain, I've said this many times, it's probably the worst day of your life. Whether it's on foot or they drop me off by helicopter. Pretty shitty day in your life. Now, it could be a good one because we just found you. But if you're injured, you know, we're out in the middle of nowhere. Now, today it's a lot better. We got a lot of support, and helicopters, hoist, everything else that we do that we didn't have 20, 30 years ago. So even search and rescue's changed. We call it now search and cell phone, you know, because everybody gets on, watches Discovery Channel, watches Bear Giles get out there. They take their knife with them. They're going to climb a waterfall, then they fall, you know, and then they can reach their phone and hit 911. And then we got to figure out, triangulate where the hell they're at, you know? So it's really changed things. Now, one of these things is that your mentors, the people in your life, the people that even if they've only played a small role, they played a bigger role than what you think. Okay. The one thing that I've noticed in everybody inside and outside this industry, those that pay tribute and realize, listen, all those mentors, Bill and Winnie, they didn't do it for me. Okay. They didn't make me successful. They created the pathway and they shortened the trip. Walt Monique, they didn't do it for me. They never lay claim, but they know the importance because I tell them. And I couldn't have done it without them. It would have taken me a lot longer. I wouldn't have been here without any of these people. Just wouldn't have. They created opportunity for me by freeing my mind and showing me and giving me opportunity. Dave Morris would not be here. 100% would not be here if his family wouldn't have had us over for Thanksgiving. We're kind of down on our luck. And he didn't care. And we still can't stay in contact today. Wouldn't be shocked if he's listening. Okay? Guy that flew for Google. I mean, powerful dude. Tens of thousands of flight hours in jets. One of the most giving guys I've ever known. So I'm going to end this with this. Now, guys, I want you guys to write this down. This is a quote, and I dare you to think about this all day and all night. I don't know what your circumstances are. I don't know where you come from. I don't know your background. I don't know any of that. I don't really care. But one of my favorite people was Bruce Lee. I love this guy. The guy was such a Renaissance man, such a badass, a true badass. And he said this, to hell with circumstances, I create opportunities. Bruce Lee. So, circumstance. You might be broke. So be it. You might be mentally broken. So be it. You might be physically broken. So be it. You might not have the education. So be it. Go fix it. Create the opportunities. You have a chance every day when you wake up. You know, the first thing I did is it's no secret. I love walking my dogs. Got up at 6 this morning, a little before 6. Started, my brother had already come out and made some coffee. Took my dogs out. And I never go with my phone. Never. And I remember looking up, and through the pine trees is this beautiful sunrise. And it's about 7 different shades of colors. I went, what a freaking cool day to be alive. How cool is it that I looked up and I can enjoy the simplest thing of a sunrise? Because let me tell you, in the last few weeks, our family woke up and those sunrises weren't so, I didn't even notice them. We went through some really, really scary times the last few weeks. And during that, I never lost my faith and I never lost my thankfulness. You know, Bob and Dave changed my life. I changed theirs. You know, that's how we work. So you change each other's lives. You give other people opportunity and you take opportunity. And as Warren Buffett said, is that someone's sitting in the shade because they planted a tree a long time ago. What's your shade tree going to look like? You're young. Plant those trees. Plant them big. Water them. And then, as you get a little older, learn to coast. If you're older and you're just planting those trees, plant the damn trees and coast in between the watering. Okay? Enjoy the ride because soon enough, it'll all be over. So, hey, I wanted to thanks for joining us today. You know, this is kind of a different discussion, but it was something. You know, you guys don't know, and I'll show you guys after this. But if I scan through on my phone, I've got hundreds of these topics, hundreds, and I get them from the weirdest spot. One of the coaches on Peloton, one of the trainers, man, he throws out some wisdom sometimes, and he'll say something, and I'm like, hey Siri, put down in my notes, you know, and I'm yelling to put notes down. You don't know where the influence is going to come from. You know, I'm going to learn something from every single one of you this week. I'm taking things away already from every single one of you. You're a big dude, powerful dude. No, seriously, in life and everything else. You know what I took away from you yesterday? You're appreciative. And you're not scared to say it. That was cool. As powerful as man as you are, you're even more powerful with your words. and your kindness and your heart.
Thank you.
Took that away from you yesterday. One sentence you said, I went, this dude has got his heart and his mind centered. And I'll share with you all. I've already taken something, little pieces away from each one of you. Each one of you. And so don't be afraid to be impacted greatly by people you don't even know. Simple as that. Hey, if you've enjoyed this, make sure to share it. I love to get emails from you guys. Renny@detailingsuccess.com. Give us some thoughts of what you thought about this past shows or what we need to bring into the future. I love hearing from you guys. We have one. I don't want to be Joe Rogan a podcast, but I can't be. Joe Rogan's Joe Rogan. That's the other day. Don't compare yourself to other people. Joe Rogan's badass. I don't pretend to ever be. Honestly, that's not my mission. Chris and I'll tell you, our one mission is one person impact every single podcast. One. We have multiple. We have a lot of messages sent to us. A lot of people reaching out. I don't care. I want one. I want one person. So with that, hey, thanks everybody. Chris, we'll see you. We'll see you when we see you. Drive really safe. And,
I'll be there. I'll be there soon. And I want to throw out real quick, not too many details yet, but we're working on something fun for SEMA. So
really fun.
If you guys, and this is another one of those, if not you, then who kind of a situations, right? Renny, back in 2019, after our party up there, we kind of noticed a missed opportunity. And so we're acting on it. And so this year's party is going to be pretty cool. And we've got a big goal for it. And
it's going to lift the entire industry up. And it's not me doing the lifting. It's the entire industry is going to put SEMA on notice that, hey, we're here, because they don't know we're here.
So keep your eyes open for that, guys. We would love your support of that in any way can, not necessarily financially, but even just sharing it, when you start seeing that stuff.
And I'm going to do a call out real quick. I completely forgot to do this. I'm glad you slowed me down, Chris. Joe LaPalma from IGL. Most of us know him. He's out of Canada. Joel took and had a recent, he had a heart attack, could have killed him. And I saw a post recently by him where, Joe's a hockey player. A lot of people don't know he was the enforcer in hockey. He's a guy that's my height, not a big guy, but I've seen film of him when they turn him loose on the ice just to go beat somebody up. And he was like a buffed out flea that would just mess some people up until the end of his career. And he got a guy that was just just freaking Goliath. And you see Joel go in and start beating on the guy. And then all of a sudden the guy doesn't move. And the guy just hits Joel, and Joel goes back like 5 feet. And you see Joel just running from the guy. He's like, oh, screw that. Joel is one tough dude. I applaud Joel for standing up. And A, I'm glad you're okay, buddy, because you are a great asset to this industry. But B, I love to see that you're fighting this thing, that you're getting back in shape, that you're dedicated to bringing yourself back to good health. It really took and inspired me, and it touched me to see his post. So go check it out and give him good wishes, because he's a true asset to us all. But I was pretty impressed by that. With that, we got some work to do on some cars. We're out of here. Have a good one, guys. We'll see you next time.